See, Bob, if you get hungry, there's a couple more over here for you. You can snacks there. Well, we have tried and we've tried and we've tried to get everything together, and I don't know if it worked or not. I went home today and Amazon finally showed up at my house. It was like a pile of stuff on my porch. It's what happens when you order late. You know it's bad when Amazon can't get you there, almost doesn't get there. Went to Dewey's, stood in line, had to get a Devonshire coffee cake. Gotta have a Devonshire coffee cake. It's just not Christmas without a Devonshire coffee cake, and they only make them once a year, you know. There's just certain things I've got to have to be Christmas. Amen? Anybody? You know, this year has just been odd. It's just been one of those years. And I think every year I say that. And I think I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I'm not just everything just perfect for Christmas. It's okay. I think I'm really struggling this year with all the war, especially more so than normal in Gaza and Israel. Devastation, turmoil there. Ukraine and Russia fighting. People on both sides losing their lives, and they really can't make a decision well enough to make a difference. It's bad. I always think of Abraham Lincoln's line in the Civil War. Both sides were praying to the same God, and the difficulty that comes there and what we understand. Gosh, the world is such a complex, dangerous, wacky place that I just need something once in a while that's familiar. I was getting through the service and getting ready, and I thought, something's different. And I don't know if you missed it or not, but I missed it, so I'm going to share it with you. That's one of the perks of getting to be a preacher. If you ever want to have a reason to go into ministry, to be a preacher, sometimes you get to add something special to the service. Isaiah 9, verses 2 and verse 6. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. For unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. There, I needed that. The reminder from the prophet Isaiah of the reason for Christ's presence in the world. I needed that. I hope you did too. And I think part of what we need to hear again is that God didn't just create the world and set it a spin and leave it alone, but that God cares and nurtures and loves and sustains us. A long time ago, and today, and forever. Some things in Christmas I've just got to have. Other things always take me by surprise. I was so glad the kids brought in Santa Claus in the children's sermon. Thank you, whoever that was. You can have an extra piece of chocolate on me. Because since you said that, I get to show you have any of you seen my Christmas shoes today? My red and green. That used to be easier to lift my leg that high up. And candy cane stripes. I bet you didn't expect to see that, did you? Not from me. Oh, it gets better. But just my socks, they got Santa Claus on them. I bet you didn't think that. You didn't expect to see Santa Claus at church, did you? Oh, yeah. Don't let me. What is this? I'm going to be so sore tomorrow, I won't be able to get out and open my presents. Look at there. This week, I was like, what is my back hurting? What's my legs hurting for? And yesterday I came through to make sure the poinsettias didn't get too dry, and I got up and down a few times, and I realized, that's what was making me sore. You should try it. It's great exercise. I recommend it to any of you. You can help me. I wasn't expecting, the preacher to wear red and green shoes and candy cane stripes. I wasn't expecting that to happen. But, and Santa Claus on his socks. Santa Claus is good old St. Nicholas. That's really part of that legend. And I thought about, what do we think about Santa Claus? Depends on what story you read. Sometimes he's short, sometimes he's tall, sometimes he's thin. Sometimes he even wears green. What? Yeah, back in the day, or red, with a big beard, or not. Do you remember that St. Nicholas was at the Council of Nicaea in 325? Did you remember that part of St. Nicholas? Oh, I love this. This just gets good. You know, when you think about St. Nicholas, you know, this little twinkle in his eye and his nose, think of this story too. St. Nicholas at the Council of Nicaea, they're really debating about who Jesus is. Serious stuff, Christology. Figuring out, is Jesus just this is like, you know, special person, or is this Jesus God revealed in the flesh, the incarnation? Well, those of us with 2,000 years of church history know and understand what the trueness of Jesus is. It's the incarnation. It's God revealed in God's self to the world, to all of us, fully God, fully divine, Jesus the Christ. But they were having a little debate between Arius, A-R-I-U-S, and Nicholas. They got into this kind of discussion about this, and Arius kept making these big, broad generalities about just the basic humanity of Jesus. And Nicholas, you know, sweet Nicholas, got madder and madder and madder in the whole process. And finally, he walked across the room and slapped Arius. And they took him to the Emperor Constantine. And the emperor said, y'all a bunch of bishops, there's 300 of y'all here, you figure it out. He knew it was a lose-lose situation. And so they did. They put him in jail. They stripped him from his bishop's robes, and they took him to jail and put him in jail, and there he could sit out the rest of the conference if he couldn't behave any better than that. And the legend is, and the story from church history is, that during the night that Mary and Jesus showed up to visit with him in prison. And that Jesus brought him the story of the Gospels, that he could continue. And they asked him, they said, well, Nicholas, why are you here? And he says, because I love y'all so much. He was from the South. I love you so much that I'm here. It was worth fighting for. They brought him the copy of the Gospels that he read, and they adorned him with this priestly garment of bishops. And so when the jailer came the next morning and saw Nicholas in there, the one who had been taken his bishop's robes were away. He had bishop's robes, and he had the scriptures, and he was reading them, and the chains that were on his feet and hands were laying on the floor. The word got back to the emperor, and he had him released, and so he rejoined the other bishops as they continued to discuss and understand who Jesus was, deciding ultimately that Jesus is fully God, revealed in the flesh through Jesus, the incarnation of God for all the world. I just wonder if God waited until the world was perfect. Everything was just hunky-dory, perfect. Oh, it's going to be good. Paul mentioned it this morning, that Jesus was come into the world in a place that was being oppressed. The Romans had overtaken Israel. They were the rulers. Things were not good. More taxes were coming. Oh, mercy. That story hadn't changed. And yet God saw fit to be able to remind us, to let us know that Jesus the Christ was born as a little bitty baby. Can you believe that? And people wanted a Messiah, they wanted a ruler, they wanted somebody who was going to overthrow the Roman government and make everything just hunky-dory, perfect again in the whole wide world, and they get a baby. Talking about a letdown of expectations. And yet, at the same time, this baby becomes our Savior, becomes the focus, the center of our life, the light of the world, and the hope of our todays and our tomorrows and forever. The one that, despite everything that's going on in the world, offers to us love and joy. offers to us peace in our hearts, peace that we can't get anywhere else. Jesus. Jesus is the peace and the hope and the love and the joy for us and for all the world. A lot of speculation about Jesus there was no room for Jesus in the inn. Jesus was born in a manger. Jesus was born in December, maybe, but it could have been April if you really get the scholarships digging in. Jesus, instead of being in an inn, maybe perhaps it was a small peasant cottage with it, the barn was down below and the houses were up above and that's where they lived. All these stories, we don't know. But what we do know, what the church teaches and what we understand is that Jesus was revealed in the flesh, God for us, so that we could see more fully who God is. And we gather this night to offer our praise and thanksgiving. We gather around this table, not just a memorial meal, but a meal of sustenance. A meal that continues to remind us of God's forgiveness for us and for our world. A meal that joins us, enables us to be God's people in the world. Just a small piece of bread and a little bit of grape juice to remind us that we are sustained and that we are forgiven by God to be God's people. That we're empowered for work and ministry into all the world, not just part of it. And that through God's love for us, we love one another. Oh, that's the magic of Christmas. Yeah, the world around us is still not perfect, but there's still plenty of work to do and still plenty of God to be with us. Just enough to be able to help us experience the fullness of who God is. Christmas isn't just a day. People are like, the 26th, let's put our tree out by the curb. It's okay if you do that. I'm not gonna, but you're not taking mine down yet. I just got it put up. Christmas is a season. It's, 12 days. There's 12 days of Christmas. There's a reason for that in liturgical year. Try it sometime. Like I say, go around January 3rd, tell people Merry Christmas. They'll look at you weird. It's fun. January 6th, the wise men arrive with a gift, recognizing Jesus' gift to the whole world. Oh, it's all a process. But it's also a way of life for us. It's for us to be able to live and to love each and every day with the power of God, recognizing God's great gift through Jesus Christ and our great gift of forgiveness and love that He's been given to us, and our calling to share that with all the world around us. Don't stop. Don't give up. Always remember, Christ loves you and Christ loves this world. All glory and honor and power to the one who was, who is, and who is to come. Amen.